Oh man. Hey everybody, this is Decryptolorian from the Whale team and welcome to our project showcase. Today I am joined by WhaleShark and Nytmare, and our special guests we have Ryan, we have Han, we have Daniel, and they're all from the multiplayer action RPG that's heating up the NFT space called Big Time. If you haven't heard of it, it is a big deal. Big Time is a very big deal. Welcome, everybody. Please say hi.
Hey, everyone. Glad to be here.
Hi, guys.
We are live.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet everybody.
Hey, guys. Amazing to have you guys here. Again, huge fan of what you guys have built.
I got to say, I'm a little nervous because I'm a huge fanboy, and this is awesome that we have you here with us. To kind of check out the game and talk about the game. So just to introduce ourselves, my name is Decryptolorian. I work for the Whale community, and I am the head of art and gaming over at Whale. We're also joined by, let's go with Nytmare.
Hey everyone, Nytmare here. I'm head of community marketing for Whale, one of the premier communities and social tokens for the NFT space and blockchain gaming in the metaverse.
All right, and our awesome head of Whale, WhaleShark. Tell us, introduce yourself, WhaleShark.
Hey guys, founder of Whale here, one of the world's largest NFT collectors with over 406,000 NFTs over the last 2 years. Big Time is one of the most anticipated projects that I have ever felt FOMO for. Was an instant connect. Ryan, Han, Daniel, when I saw all of your trailers as well as everything that you guys were building, absolutely psyched to be here and so honored that you guys took time out of your very busy schedule to actually come here and join us today and tell not only the Whale community, but also all my followers on Twitter, what is Big Time all about. So again, thank you so much for coming in here, and would love to hear an introduction from Daniel, Ryan, and Han.
Yeah, I can quickly kick it off. You mean like personal introductions?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm Daniel. I'm head of monetization and game economy for Big Time. So a lot of the stuff regarding NFTs and tokenomics it's my baby.
I'm Ryan, and I'm the director of growth at Big Time. My main goal is to kind of grow the community, and so it'd be good if you guys join the Big Time Discord, sign up to our email list, follow us on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is actually Crypto Han, but like people call me Han, and I'm the community lead of Big Time, and I'm actually be a big fan of WhaleShark before I joined Big Time. So yeah, I'm actually very fanboys for WhaleShark. So I follow you guys all the time, man. I was just like, okay, WhaleShark is buying it. I tried my best to try to match it up, but it's really hard.
So yeah, bro. We fanboy each other, my friend. I know I want DC to lead this conversation, but just prefacing, before we jump into the questions, Crypto Han, I mean, if you follow me, you know my thesis. It's like I probably follow 0.001% of projects in the entire space. The moment I stumbled across content from Big Time, been fortunate enough to know Ari, reached out to Ari, understood how we could get involved. And on top of that, spent, I want to say, about 6 to 8 hours going through every single piece of content you guys have placed on YouTube, right? So it's just a total honor to be here with the three of you today. I know that the community is absolutely psyched. The Whale Discord is going wild. And once we get some questions in, we'll have some questions from the community. We'll have some questions from DC, questions from Nytmare. Just absolutely psyched to have all of you. And this is going to be a very epic interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, yeah, it's funny. So basically, you guys fanboy over each other.
Now, WhaleShark, to your point, we've had people come into our community today and have said, what's big time? Because we know whatever WhaleShark's getting into, we need to lean into, right? So they were talking about NFT photography. They understood, right? They understood CloneX, what was going on with Artifact, and they're saying, what's big time? So that's already having a trickle down effect. They know if you are throwing your weight behind something and saying, hey, this is something to pay attention to, then it's going to be a mover and shaker in this space for sure.
Absolutely. And when WhaleShark started talking about big time, I mean, I think we sat there for what, like 3 hours and and started watching all the videos and everything and talking back and forth about what we thought was going to happen. It was quite the night. Man, it's fantastic. So that goes perfectly. I mean, what a great transition to our first question. So tell us about Big Time. Like, what's the game about? I mean, for everybody out there.
So for those that don't know, Big Time is about becoming a time traveling superhero and battling to save the universe from a man who owns time. And so like the name, it comes from like, if you guys think about like what are the large conglomerates right now, like so we have big oil and we have big pharma. Super far down the line, we have something called Big Time, hence the name. And so our kind of goal is that we're the first AAA game with NFTs and other crypto assets, such as a token. And the goal is to kind of bring the blockchain component to a lot of the gamers. So there's like 1 billion gamers out there, and we want them to be able to experience what it feels like to be a part of a player-owned economy, to where a lot of the assets that you have are yours, and you can do whatever you'd like with them. So it's the goal is to make it a very familiar experience to where anyone can just download and start the game. It's kind of like 80% Diablo 2, 20% World of Warcraft. And the idea is that like all the core parts of the MMO formula are interoperable, combat oriented, and then a lot of the common areas. So like you have like this MMO component to it, allows for ways that you show off the limited NFT based gear that you acquire and you upgrade. And so the levels are procedurally generated. So that means like every time you play the game, it's going to be a unique experience.
That's very interesting that you would say Diablo 2 as kind of an inspo for that. Obviously, D3 had come out afterwards. Is there a specific reason that you would call out D2 as opposed to the other numbers in the title?
Yeah, so I would say that like with D2, there's been already a huge player base alongside like with World of Warcraft. So people are very familiar with kind of like how fun it was during that era. And so we mainly want to bring familiarity, because like as like a lot of new games come out with like new technology and new graphics cards, game developers always add new features to them. So something that's most familiar is what we're looking
and
to.
that as someone who had a lot of issues with D3, that's music to my ears, right? Because D2 really calls and harkens to what we really revered about the title. So glad to hear that you guys really are innate gamers, and that comes through in the authenticity of what you chose to describe it as there. I did have a quick question. You talk about wanting to make something that's very familiar with people for blockchain gaming, and reading a little bit more about what you guys aspired to do. It looked like really there was a focus on trying to make blockchain gaming accessible, right? So, there's a lot of barriers to entry sometimes for people that want to play some other games. I know I've tried some, and even people on my own team here have had to talk me through the steps numerous times on what it would take for me to get involved. And it looks like you guys are trying to build something that, someone that just has an interest in gaming could do it, and it's relatively seamless for them. It doesn't require a lot of, crypto native knowledge.
Yeah, I can take that one. You're absolutely right. So most of our team came from the gaming space. I myself, I came from Activision Blizzard. Thor had a huge career at Zynga and EA. A lot of our folks also came from Epic and Riot. So we're very much like game developers first. And what we aim to do is pretty much create a game that can stand on its own legs without having to rely on anything blockchain related to gain traction. And if we can do that, I think that's the first entry point for traditional gamers to really start embracing games that have blockchain, as opposed to categorizing ourselves as a blockchain game. And then the second piece of the puzzle is, all right, how do we incorporate blockchain elements to the game? And that's where we have our patented technology that we call the vault, which essentially makes this idea of asset custody, any type of transaction being gas free on our platform, and all these things that tend to be barriers for traditional gamers disappear. They don't have to worry about that. It's essentially make your game account play, and before you realize it, you're going to have NFTs on the marketplace.
Yeah, to add to that, so this morning we recently announced our partnership with Circle, the issuers of USD coin. So people are very familiar with kind of like how that coin has a lot of trust behind it, and we want it to be kind of the backbone of the payment system and the payment gateway for Big Time.
Man, that is fantastic. That's a great partnership. So now that we know a little bit more about the game and the team, tell us a little bit about the game lore, because I know some of us really enjoy and kind of geek out over that type of stuff.
Yeah, I could touch a little bit on that one too. So Ryan kind of went through the overarching story, but essentially you create a character and you're at the end of time in a city called Time's End, with other characters and other players, and your loop essentially is investigating throughout time all these breaks in time. Right, so you can imagine. I'm pretty sure people have seen concept art where all of a sudden the Wild Wild West and a dinosaur shows up. There's also ideas with robot pirates, as well as essentially this group that's manufacturing robots to help also take over different universes throughout time. So the idea with the lore here is we have a lot of space to play with. I mean, you talk about time travel both in the past and in what's future to us. And that actually opens up a lot of cool opportunities for us to consistently upgrade the content and the storyline, throughout a year, as opposed to waiting 1 or 2 years to launch a big expansion. And we can start touching on like feudal Japan, futuristic, US, Wild Wild West, going back to dinosaur times too. And we have all these different things that we can play with. And in the end, it's all about kind of like saving time. And trying to keep things the way they should be, as opposed to someone who's trying to manipulate it to their own advantage.
Nice, and I've been looking at the website a lot and reading up on Albert Einstein, which it seems like a really cool character to have on there. He must be like a sage, like a good guy. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, I don't know if Honic want to touch on this, but essentially, yeah, we think it's really fun because we're looking at historical figures in time to be NPCs or in our game, either giving you quests or acting kind of as leaders of certain factions. So, you saw the Albert Einstein, but you're talking about many different major characters throughout time that will play roles in your leveling, in your quests, as well as the overarching storyline. And that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun to see different mashups that we're putting together behind the scenes.
As someone who's currently watching Westworld and all about the multiverse here in this household, this is like I'm living in a constant loop of the same iterations of amazing possibilities. So I think it's really, really cool. I'm getting a lot of DMs from people that are psyched about this interview, and they're asking me, some questions that I think revolve in everyone's mind that's a fan of MMOs and want to know, hey, is this the MMORPG or the dungeon crawler for me? Varied classes, right? So you guys have the 4 traditional class types. I understand. Is this procedural generated dungeons? Is there a hub world? Is another one that that people are curious about. And then of course gear and mounts, which I think you guys have tremendous assets for already. But I'll let you kind of expand on those things a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we have the 4 classes we've announced, but with we do have plans as we start adding more content and our mini expansions, which we'll be calling timeshares that touch on different times, different periods of time. We want to introduce new classes as well. And the cool thing about the classes too is it's not a very linear traditional leveling up progression system. It's actually there's a lot of autonomy for the players on how they want to level up their characters, as well as ways to unlock new skill trees depending on your equipment or things like that. So it's very much a system we're still playing with, but the idea is that maybe you can have 2 time warriors, but they play completely differently. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of like the character progression system. Regarding the world is, yeah, so you essentially have 3 major areas. No, actually, let me correct that. 4 major areas that players will be playing in. The main city hub, like if you know World of Warcraft, like an Ogrimmar or Stormwind. Then you have kind of the open spaces where there'll be some enemies, but it's more about exploration or trying to find a quest or maybe the entrance to a specific instance. And then you have the dungeons, which are very Diablo style. So the idea is you can party up with your team, go into an instance. They're all procedurally generated, so not even us playing the game and our dev team have actually played the same dungeon twice. They always change up with the different enemies as well as the layout of the instance. And then the 4th one is actually a player's personal space, which is called a time machine, which is where a lot of the NFT action will be happening in terms of utility NFTs.
Man, go ahead, Nytmare. But
no, I'll geek on all day. I have to alternate with you, DC. Give you opportunity to get in there.
Oh my, yeah. Everything you said, it just has me even more excited about the game right now. I'm sure WhaleShark is behind the mute button, just ready to say something.
I did see that someone made a comment that these people have experience with UO as well, and that's kind of a badge of honor for people that may be on the fence on a particular title and knowing.
Oh yeah, like Thor when I met him, and he's like, yeah, I worked on Ultima Online. I'm like, I played that as a kid. That's amazing. I love that game, and we have some other folks that worked on it too. So we have a lot of our old school folks, and we have a lot of people that are like a newer generation from gaming. But the way the team designs the game together and makes it a really nice experience it's been pretty fun playing already, and we've barely just begun the polishing of certain elements of the game. So I'm pretty hyped for when it's ready for early access next year.
Yeah, definitely. Could you talk real quick about the amalgamation of talent that you have, because it's really an incredible who's who of what you've brought together?
I think maybe Han could take this one. He's got it nailed down. He doesn't forget anyone. Want to take this one, Han?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's start with our CEO, right? Ari. Ari started with Decentraland. So everybody probably know him. So we're from the Whale community, and our community is just Ari's the guy from all the crypto. And then after that, we've got Thor. You guys touched base on that a little bit on Thor, which is our chief product officer. He used to pioneer MMO in EA, and then help Zynga to grow from a small, tiny startup to a huge IPO since Google. And we also got our CTO, Matt. He used to work at, he used to work at Fortnite, and then called Fortnite. And then also, oh my God, sorry about that.
Well, it's amazing. You guys have people from League of Legends, from Call of Duty, from Gears of War, from EA, Zynga, an absolute who's who of talent. And I think that bringing them all together is an amazing result here.
CryptoHunt, one of the first things that I did when I looked at the project is went to the project page, right? And I highly advise that everybody does go to your webpage and does take a look. But the amount of the pedigree, and apologies for calling it pedigree, the pedigree that you see within the big time team is just simply flooring and amazing. I mean, literally it's a list of all of my favorite games and all of my favorite gaming companies. Didn't even have to look at anything after that because I knew that the pedigree of the team was there. And again, just looking at the trailers as well as looking at some of these things that are coming out and the concepts that are coming out, I haven't been blown away not only by a game but by a blockchain project in a very, very long time, my friends. So kudos to all of you.
Oh no, we really appreciate those words, and it is very much like we definitely think we're the second generation of games that incorporate blockchain. So that first generation was very much folks that were experts in blockchain working to make a game, and then the second generation you have people who just love this idea of everything that the blockchain brings, but have an experience in making games. And yeah, making a game is not easy. Like having worked like in big studios, most projects never see the light of day, and that we're talking about multi-million-dollar budgets with very seasoned developers, and most of them never see the light of day. So definitely the second generation of blockchain gaming companies is pretty exciting to watch.
I mean, we actually do have quite a few questions on here from the team regarding this. I mean, and we'll get to that in the AMA section. Where I'd love to direct this conversation to is, we spoke about the game, we spoke about the inspiration behind the game, we spoke about the story lore. Now, right now, big part of your audience and really the core audience is, a new class of gamer that's coming out, which is your blockchain gamers, right? Whether we look at some of the amazing games in the space that have already launched and one of them, having become, to a certain extent, one of the most highly valued games in the entire world. Something that's very core, and the team touched on this just now, is really the ownership of assets, right? And I think the ownership structure and the tokenization or NFTs within Big Time, it's a very exciting part of the entire experience. So I'd love to delve deeper into the types of NFTs or the types of and I hate to call them tokens, right? Or the true digital assets, right? That people can own within Big Time. And again, we've heard about the vault, we've heard about space, we've heard about a token coming out, and as well as stuff being tokenized. Can you guys talk about some of those? I guess some of those true ownership digital assets and what people can exactly do with them.
All right. Yeah. Let me, I want to make sure I don't say things that we haven't publicly announced yet. So to start with the first one, which is the one I'm currently most excited about, Space. So Space in Big Time is an NFT. And what Space is they're extensions to your time machine. So you remember I talked about every player gets their own personal space that we're calling a time machine, and you kind of teleport to it, kind of like a town portal in Diablo. And we got a lot of inspiration from hideouts and Path of Exile. But the idea with time machines is you can teleport to it. Every player will earn a starter time machine. It's one of the lessons learned we had from Decentraland is a huge barrier to entry, right? If you just don't, if you kind of cap right at the beginning, how many people can actually interact with this type of NFT. So for Big Time, every player earns a starting time machine. And what they can do is they can use Space NFTs to expand the size of it. Now, Space NFTs, besides obviously giving you more room to decorate your time machine and to bring friends, to essentially hang out in your space, they also form the basis for other NFTs to be used. So I think the cool thing about NFTs in games is you can create any utility you want for it, right? You can make it, you can make a sword that's an NFT. You can make a tank that's an NFT. You can do tiny little NFTs. Hey, I want to put a potted plant in my time machine. That's an NFT. So it gives you just lots of space to say, all right, well, we want to create different things that have different utilities. So Space NFTs give you the basis to start accessing other NFTs that do things in the game. There are a couple that we've talked about already in some of our blogs. One is called a timekeeper, and a timekeeper is like this ancient being who has a lot of power over time itself. And what they can do is they can craft NFTs called hourglasses, which unlock the ability for you to find token loot in the game, right? At the same time, I think we've also touched on the Forge for your space, and the Forge allows you to produce and upgrade NFTs. And there's some other ones we haven't announced yet, but the idea definitely is that space is your basis for all of this. Oh man, and of course what most people always ask about, like in the game, your swords, your armor, your shields, your cape, your helmet, are these NFTs? I would say yes and no. So the cool thing is for items that impact your power, so your strength, your dexterity, your damage, your critical strike chance, all those things, those are not NFTs because we don't want people to be able to come in and pay to win, right? You pay, you got the best gear, and all of a sudden you're at the top of the leaderboards. We don't want that to happen. Instead, all these wearable cosmetics are NFTs. So that's where it comes more into play in terms of, hey, yeah, I have really good gear, but I got this really cool NFT helmet that is like kind of overlaid now, and I look amazing. So that's the idea behind a lot of these NFTs that are earned in-game as drops, as well as purchased on the marketplace.
Daniel, I am literally hyperventilating at the total game.
Yeah, WhaleShark definitely wants to flex.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, Daniel, that is perfect. I love what you just said, because the biggest concern of most gamers is this going to be pay to win? And what you said was perfect. I mean, I love these cosmetic NFTs. That's amazing to me.
Now, you also touch base on the tokens that you can earn once you have the hourglass, and you can go and have a chance to accumulate those in game. So just to be clear to everybody, in addition to these NFTs, you guys are launching a token as well, right?
Yeah, so we'll have one token for the game. It's a utility token. And the interesting thing about this token, different than other blockchain games that have come out so far, is it's completely fair launch. So none of us have tokens. Not even Ari and Thor have tokens, and they're the founders. There are no investors with tokens. It's only earnable in game. And something we've also learned from watching other blockchain games that are already live is this idea that we essentially need to create two game experiences. One are for traditional gamers, and the other one are for blockchain gamers. So for blockchain gamers, if they want to really dive into this world of also finding token loot, that's where the hourglass comes into play. And a lot of guilds have already stocked up on space to be able to get their timekeepers and start producing these hourglasses for their guild members. But the cool thing is, they can still play the really cool game experience, which is teaming up with a party. The only difference now is they have an hourglass equipped, so they have a chance to find tokens.
Wow, that's awesome. And just to go back to the space NFTs for just a second, is there a total cap of space NFTs that you're going to sell in the beginning?
Yeah, so we did have a private sale for guilds, and we kind of capped how many we're putting out at 10% of the total supply. What we're moving towards now is actually the first public sale of space NFTs using our marketplace beta. So we had an interesting launch earlier this week, and we got a lot of really good feedback, as well as really put our marketplace to the test. So our team's been pretty hard at making upgrades and fixing any bugs and issues we found in order to prepare for the public sale of space, which will be open to anyone on our marketplace.
Okay, and how many do you think will be available after? So you said you got the guild sale, and now afterwards, how many will be available total?
Yeah, we're aiming to put 600,000, so that's another 10% of all the space available for the public for this sale. The thing is, even though we have 600,000 spaces, NFTs available, that's actually meant to last multiple years. So even though it will be dropping in game, it's one of those really rare drops, right? So like, obviously, if you're playing 8 hours a day with a really good party and clearing instances quickly, you're going to find a couple spaces here and there. But for blockchain gamers that are looking to come in and really start ramping up on that game experience, you have a really big head start participating in the sales.
Oh man, that's awesome. Now, and the following question, and this is why I'm asking, is after the initial sale, Are these spaces going to be available to do? I mean, everyone like myself that loves collecting NFTs, peer-to-peer purchasing afterwards.
Yeah, on our marketplace. So the cool thing about our marketplace is it uses our vault technology, so you don't have to worry about gas fees on it, or connecting your wallet or anything like that. As long as you have your game account, you're good. So there'll be trading on the marketplace. Right now, there's active trading for the VIP passes, and we only put a handful on sale to test the system. And we're already seeing a lot of people trading them, on a daily basis. So we expect a lot of that of Space as well, because honestly, Space comes in 5 different rarities and 3 different sizes. So I can definitely see people trying to get a few more large spaces and trying to buy them off other players. We're definitely supporting that.
It's
So
well, sorry, Nytmare, but it's kind of a game within itself. I was a big fan of the World of Warcraft marketplace, and it was almost like a mini game inside the game. So I think that's really
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, I had a friend who he'd be playing World of Warcraft, and his screen had a spreadsheet on one screen and the auction house on the other. And he's
DC,
like,
you would be the shopkeeper guy. Yeah, I can see that.
I am the shopkeeper guy. That's for sure.
I had a question with regards to the token. So we talked about earning the token. What exactly is the utility of the token in game? Like, how is it used, and how are you going to use that to build a player economy and experience?
Yeah, for sure. So the token, we really want the token to act as a way to add value to your NFTs. So one of the main things for the token actually is your hourglass. The sands are running, right? So when the sands run out, you have to take it back to a timekeeper to recharge, and that costs some tokens. But that's not even a cool utility. It's more of a sink for us. But the cool utilities are actually one is that forge that I mentioned that you can upgrade your NFTs, like the next tier. That uses tokens in order to upgrade them. We also have an NPC vendor in the game who has he's like a traveling vendor, and he'll have a rotating list of NFTs that he sells that consistently changes, but he only accepts token as payment. And then the last one, which is one of my favorite ones, is you can imagine like a challenge portal that costs a few tokens to activate, and out will spawn like a really hard boss or a group of elite enemies. If you can beat them, you have a chance of earning a unique NFT that's only found with that type of experience. And that's kind of where we want to start out for now. We kind of had to hold ourselves back quite a bit in terms of having the token be too present in the game to avoid scaring off traditional gamers. But we have like a very long laundry list of things we want to incorporate as players become more comfortable with the use of tokens in the game.
Very cool. I like that tempered approach, as you guys are trying a lot of things that are kind of, the next evolution in the blockchain gaming space.
And so we're kind of broaching this subject a lot, and I think maybe the next question is really talk to us how you hope to build the player economy experience, because that's always important when you have these types of games.
Yeah, I can take that. Oh, sorry. Now, just now it was just a little bit blank out of my own team. I'm freaking out of my own team. Sorry about that. And yeah, so for the player economy, it's basically we want to take the point where traditional gamers and then the crypto gamers, there's a 2 different approach. A lot of games right now we see they are going for just IDOs, IGOs. Everybody want to go for the coins and want to sell a lot of lands first and then everything, right? But when we look at that, that doesn't really help the traditional gamers to join in our community, because it is so hard for them to learn all the MetaMask and learn all the crypto, and then sometimes they might get scammed because it's so easy to get scammed in the crypto world right now. So the next things we want to do is actually focus on the fun of the game. We want to bring the game that is actually fun to the traditional gamer, so that they'll actually be able to play the game, and then slowly they'll be able to actually learn more about crypto. So we're gonna kind of reverse the directions for them. Instead of learning a lot for crypto first, we actually let them just play the game, and they'll be able to learn crypto as we go. So for the player, just they don't even need the prior crypto knowledge right now. So that's how we're going to focus right now with the game.
Wow, that's fantastic. I think that is the focus. I mean, you're building a game, right? And it's
Exactly.
good to kind of focus on the actual game, and then have the crypto and blockchain stuff kind of come along. It just feels good, It feels good as a gamer for several years.
You kind of want to close the gap between the actual gamer and then the crypto, crypto knowledge. It's kind of like, for me, when I first started crypto, it was just lots of walls that I'm hitting, and there's not a lot of people that actually brings you towards like, okay, when we're always seeking for that top project to actually go to, like, and then you realize, oh, it might be a rug pull. And then, same thing with the games nowadays. A lot of games that we see, oh, everybody jumps in and then games just disappeared or got rug pulled. Now, doesn't feel well, doesn't feel good. So we want to reverse that to actually focus the game a lot more. And game is the #1 priority for our company.
Yeah, I think that's really smart.
That is music to my ears. I mean, guys. One of the main reasons why I was drawn to Big Time is because again, it's blockchain gaming is a very nascent space, and it's not enough, I guess, for games within the space just to say that you have true digital asset ownership and management, right? Pretty much any single project that is NFT based has that, and this is really music to my ears because a successful game in the space needs to be a game first before being blockchain empowered. And really, the games that are really going to move into the mainstream and the games that are going to get a really large traction are really those that not only right allow people to have some element or a large element of digital asset ownership, but at the same time, it's a game first. So that is truly music to my ears. And guys, when I'm looking at these trailers that we're posting over here, I know that I could sit down here and play for 12, 24 hours straight. I think I'm going to be looking at a new addiction once you guys launch. We've asked a lot of questions, but at the same time, over here, guys. So for the audience, we have a private chat here going, and we've posted every single question that's either coming in from Twitter or coming in from the Discord itself. Nytmare, why don't we kick this off with some of these AMAs, because I'd hate for us to hit the time mark without getting the community's questions in.
Yeah, definitely. Specific to the vault and the unique technology, there was a question, can you talk about what makes it, patent pending, unique, and also how exactly does it work with regards to what chain it's on and how people have custodial ownership?
Yeah, so kind of like how you can think about it is that like it's a centralized exchange, but in particularly for NFTs. So the vault and like everything built on it is chain agnostic, meaning that like it will be compatible with like Polygon, BSC, in the future, Solana and Avalanche and things like that. Our main goal is to kind of accommodate to those that like are like single chain maximalists, because like for a very good crypto decentralized future, pretty much any chain, I want to be welcoming of any chain. And so like kind of like how you can think about it is that like it's a super smart contract, right? Not just a smart contract, but like a little bit smarter to where it can go in and out to the custody to our without having to worry about custody, and you'll still have ownership. So a little bit more on that is that like you can withdraw it to your own wallet. If you wanted to, you can sell it on OpenSea or any of the Solana marketplaces, anything that you choose. And so during that period, you'll have full custody of your assets.
Very cool. Thank you for expanding on that.
All right, let's hit on some of these here. All right, so we have a bunch of questions from the community coming in. DC will manage this as we move forward. All right, so there's a question here I'm seeing. So interestingly, so this is coming in from the community, but interestingly, there was a mixed reception to Ubisoft's foray into NFT gaming with their Digits project. What has the sentiment from traditional gamers been like towards big time gaming?
So traditional gamers towards us, the ones that we've been able to reach out to and speak to, very, very positive. We've spoken with a lot of traditional gaming YouTubers and influencers, and of course, the content they put on their channel, they have to be very careful, right? They can't be seen as if they're shilling anything, especially if it's obviously terribly boring to watch. So when we've shown them trailers, when they've had these private demos, they've actually been really, really excited about our game. And eager to actually create content about our game and then streaming our game. So we're pretty confident that right now, the way we're building the game, as players see more, the reception is going to get better and better. And we also have a really cool teaser coming out very, very soon, which shows more gameplay. And I think that's going to be kind of our first step into beginning to reach out to traditional gaming audiences. But the truth is, we're going to ramp up that really hard as we get closer to early access.
And early access is targeted for late spring, correct?
Right. So for VIP pass holders, we have NFTs that are the gold, silver, and jade passes. They start to come into the game in April. And how it's going to work is gold comes in first, then silver, then jade. And we're going to keep an eye out on how the experience is for these gamers, as well as anything on the back end, right? Is everything holding up well? Are they enjoying the game? And if everything's looking good, that's when we move to get the early access open to the public.
And DC, I know you're nervous. If I do get in before you, PvP isn't on the docket quite yet. That's later on in the development cycle, so you don't have to worry about me hunting you down as soon as you get in there.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be camping you.
Another question from the community. What are your target daily active users and other metrics? And how does Big Time transition to a AAA gaming title?
Yeah, so in terms of players that we're expecting, we are looking into the millions of MAU. With early access, we are looking to surpass 1 million MAU as we improve the game, right, to the point where we say, hey, now it's actually, this is the full game. Early access is really about listening to the feedback from the players and the community, and then tailoring our development work to cater to those experiences. And in terms of scaling into like AAA, it's very much about, once this game is live, it's a live title, right? We're going to be consistently updating it with more playable content. We're going to be very closely monitoring NFT drops, NFT marketplaces, NFT variety. We have a really cool system that allows us actually to produce hundreds of thousands of unique NFTs for specific items. And we want to make sure that obviously we're not overwhelming everyone, but anything we do put out there is really, really cool. And that's kind of how you scale to what I think would be a AAA title with a game that has blockchain in it.
Man, that's
as you
awesome.
were, as you were mentioning, no, I was just going to expand on that a little bit. As you were talking about it, I saw a lot of people asking about the possibilities of console and crossplay, and if that was possibly in scope for what you guys are planning.
I mean, we'd love to. At the moment, we're probably going to take a Fortnite approach. So we're going to go on PC, nail down the fan base, nail down the experience, and show that to the traditional gaming industry that, hey, you can have a really good game with a really loyal fan base and still have blockchain elements in it. I think what's missing right now in the industry is a good game that can rip the Band-Aid off and show Sony and Microsoft and Google and Apple that, hey, blockchain games they're here to stay and they're really good experiences. You guys need to open up your platforms and support them.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're not just clicky games or or farming games or anything like that. I can't wait till you show them. Honestly, I think it's going to be a huge thing. I have a question for you from one of our community members. One of the big problems with procedural generated worlds is that they sometimes feel a little bland after a while. So, what solutions are you trying to come up with to keep this feeling new and fresh and interesting? And I'm expanding on this question. What difficulty levels? Because I always love it when things are a little harder than they should be.
Yeah, I'll take the difficulty part first. We've recently brought in a lot of testers, external testers, and some of them were complaining they were wiping too much. So we definitely at least seeing the upper boundaries of difficulty. But of course, how you build out your party and how you level up your characters makes a huge difference. Sorry, repeat that first piece again.
Yeah. So basically, what are you doing to make the procedural generated worlds a little more exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there are some really good examples of what not to do procedural level generation. I think one was like Hell's Gate London or something tried it and it just did not work at all. So for us, it's they put a lot of development work into making a system that the levels feel new and fresh every time you go in, as well as rotating the enemies that come in as well. And the idea with this is actually to buy us more time because we're looking at adding fresh content multiple times a year. And when I mean content, I mean new enemies, new tile sets, new levels, new instances, new missions. So rather than doing one expansion every couple of years, we're looking at adding all these mini expansions, a few times a year. And the procedural level generation is not meant to, cover content drought for 6 to 12 months. Is actually meant to keep things fresh for 2 to 3 months while we launch our next bout of content.
Wow, that's a good solution because I mean we all love Nytmare. Did you have something? Or
What's
no?
that?
Oh, I thought you were trying to say I thought Nytmare would say something about Diablo and running dungeons over and over, but I mean we all love running the dungeons, and I like that the fact that it sounds too hard, which is good because I love to see that kind of challenge. So and then I think you're taking the right approach by adding more content, and that goes back to what you said about focusing on the game first, right?
Well, in the vein of content, we did have a question on, beyond the PvE things that are going to be implemented, what features do you guys plan to add for, alliances, communities to build, and that type of interaction in this MMO space?
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to take that one again. Sorry, Ronan. So we're in an interesting intersection because you have the traditional guilds from like World of Warcraft, right? Other MMORPGs, and the features that they have in terms of making sure everyone is, maybe there's a guild tabard, there's a guild bank, there's a shared guild inventory system, things like that. And now you have this new world of blockchain guilds that are very much about like the operations and making sure your scholars are fully equipped to go out there and start finding NFTs and tokens. So what we've looked at is one, what are the good features from a typical MMORPG that guilds really enjoy? And then two is what are all those things that blockchain game guilds do that are just a complete pain, right? Managing all the scholar wallets, managing their master wallet, lending out NFTs, figuring out the settlement of tokens outside the game. All that's like a massive pain, and many guilds have started building their own tech to try to address that. We're actually going to be able to incorporate a lot of that in game. So a lot of stuff that causes issues for blockchain gaming guilds will actually be a lot easier to do with Big Time.
All right, we have another question from our community, and this one I think Ryan could take. If it doesn't cost a gas fee to trade, what chain is it running
on? So it's chain agnostic, meaning that will be compatible with every chain. And I think a good analogy that this could be used is like when you go onto Coinbase or Binance and you make a trade, like is it using gas? It's not actually on chain, but you could withdraw like Bitcoin to BTC, of course, and like ETH to ETH, Sol to Sol, right? But like let's say you go from Sol to USD and you buy BTC, like none of that entire process was not actually on chain though, right? There was just a kind of like a central order book, and for us, our comparative technology would be the vault, where we just have a very open-ended, transparent marketplace.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, we did have a question, kind of a follow up. What about KYC? Is that something that we're going to be doing in the future, or is it something that you're kind of avoiding a little bit?
It's live right now. So our marketplace stuff has KYC, and it triggers at certain thresholds. So if you're moving, I think more than 2,000 in balance, it'll trigger it. Over 3,000 in credit card purchases, it'll trigger it. And there's one other situation as well, and that is very much will allow us to fully operate in lots of different markets around the world while being compliant and making sure everyone's stuff is safe. So definitely KYC is something we have. Will most traditional gamers have to do it? Absolutely not. I don't think they'll hit the thresholds. But for some of those harder core NFT traders, yeah, absolutely. You'll probably get hit with KYC before you know it. But once you do it, your account's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's something that we all have to kind of deal with as we go forward in the space, and it's good that you're tackling it now. I did actually notice that, so that someone from our community actually asked that question. I did notice it when I was putting funds into the marketplace. So I'm glad that you're tackling it now than having to worry about it in the future. So kudos to you on that. So one of the other questions, which is something that's kind of near and dear to me, because I did play UO. I mean, Daniel, we should talk one day about all the games that, because it sounds like, I played Hellgate and UO and all that stuff. So interesting times back then. But World of Warcraft and their housing system made a lot of people always stay in their own houses, basically, and instead of meeting in the capitals, and you're kind of like, these like instant places where you're kind of feeling alone. Is there any plans to like, have people over, kind of hang out,
Yeah, I completely get it. So really good example of what not to do were garrisons in Warlords of Draenor for World of Warcraft.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I joined Blizzard like a few months after that, but it's a very good example of what not to do, because they weren't enjoyable experiences and they kept players away from other players. For us, the time machines, we want them to be able to offer two experiences. One for, let's say, a single player or a very small guild where maybe you have 10 different spaces with a few timekeepers and a few forges. Is you run in, you get everything working, right? Okay, timekeepers, make me some hourglasses, forges, level up these NFTs. All right, guys, let's go hit some more instances. So something like a quick 10-20 minute in there and out. For larger guilds that have bought 500 to 2,000 different spaces, what we're looking at is actually more of a production and resource management game experience. So if anyone plays those games like Factorio, SimCity, or any Paradox games, you know what I'm talking about. But the idea is that for these guilds and these really big organizations that are playing that, you're going to have a very cool UI that really facilitate life in terms of saying, okay, you timekeepers recharge hourglasses, you timekeepers make more, you forges upgrade these swords, you other forges upgrade these shields, that type of thing. So that's how it's going to work. But we don't want people stuck in their space right now, for hours at a time doing very boring dailies, for example. But maybe in the future, or it's a very strong hey, hint, hint. In the future, we're looking at turning these time machines into players' mini metaverses, where you can buy really big space and hold certain events on your time machine, things like that. But that's that's in the future. We're focusing right now on the core game experience.
Wow, that geez, if I wasn't more hyped, jeez. What'd you say? Well, Shark, you were sweating earlier? Because I am. It's
absolutely this entire I would say that this entire hour. And again, thank you so much for spending the time with us to do this. I mean, I've been waiting to have this opportunity to interact with you guys one-on-one for quite a while now. And as we progress through this interview, I can say that we've had people asking questions on YouTube, on the Twitter, as well as in the Whale community, and we were not able to get through every single one of those, right? And I do want to be cognizant of everybody's time, so we are definitely going to have to do this at a later date one more time as the game progresses. Now, given that, you know, we are all, at the end of the day, they are collectors, there are curators, and, you know, there are creators, right? Of NFTs throughout the entire space. And I think all of us tend to overlap into one or the other. I would love to ask the guest, given that you guys are working on a blockchain gaming project, but you guys also must have your favorite NFTs. So would love to actually go with each guest, and end it probably with 4 questions. So the first one is I'm gonna ask each guest to talk about, you know, what are some of their favorite NFTs that they're holding, and then that they're using. And then after that, we'll end off the interview with an announcement on the projected date for the space sale and any other details on the format. So, you know, without further ado, Han, Crypto Han, buddy, what are your favorite NFTs in the space, and what are you holding?
Well, so I started with the XE, so those are counted NFTs, right? And then I got into Bored Apes, and I also got into Mummy. So actually, right now, I was regretting not getting into Cool Cats, but my favorite one is definitely the apes, because that got me a lot of different perks and then different vibe from people just by talking to people, right? And then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Apes are very representative of community. Ape follow ape. Again, it's amazing what NFTs have done, right? To bring communities together, to bring like-minded people together. Dude, fantastic answer. Ryan, bro, what have you been collecting, my friend?
So I haven't really been collecting too many NFTs. So I own actually just one NFT. It's the Baby Ape Social Club. And this one is kind of like a cuter version of the Bored Apes. And it's on Solana, so there's not gas fees. And the reason I chose this one was because like a mutual friend, like one of my friend's friends, is actually the artist for the project. So whenever I saw him make one, I was like, dang, I really got to get one of these. So I definitely think, and then another thing is like he really wants to take the project very far, like not just from like a community perspective, but also to add value in the community's lives.
That's amazing. And again, it's Crypto Hunt, shots fired. Baby Ape cuter than Bored Ape.
hold on. I think I
And
was
cheaper.
looking at it. Okay, hold on. It's not about cheaper. It's actually, I personally think when Ryan was telling about this, I was like, oh, they actually mixed the Cool Cats and the Bored Ape together. I was like, actually going to buy one. All right.
I just love the fact how, again, something as simple as true digital ownership of a JPEG can spur into brand loyalty, community following. It's just amazing what's happening here. And again, when you look towards the future, and we're talking about JPEG, you know, profile pics right now. But you know, when you look at the amount of guild loyalty, gaming loyalty, party loyalty, that, you know, all of these things can crop up from big time, you know, I think we're going to see a very, very similar thing. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just amazing how sentimental and how emotional people can get over the NFTs that they collect, particularly when they use it as their PFP. So before we do ask our final question on the space sale, of course I do want to ask Daniel as well. Daniel, what have you been collecting? What are your favorites? And dude, what are your favorite NFTs?
Oh, you guys say wow. So you guys are gonna laugh, but my wife would kill me if I started buying JPEG NFTs. But I've convinced her to let me get some gaming NFTs. So I'm currently doing my own research on games that I feel strongly about and that I believe in, and then stocking up a couple NFTs there. That's all I can say.
Keeping it on the down low, not getting in trouble. Happy wife, happy life, my friend.
Exactly.
Yes. Please live that life. Dude, Daniel, if you want some advice or want to talk gaming NFTs, I'd be happy to, because it sounds like we have a similar lineage when it comes to games. That's awesome. So we do have our final question. Yep. Basically, we want to talk about the projected date for the space sale and the details on the format of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can give you some of that. So for the space sale, I won't give you the exact date right now because we're actually working over the weekend to get a few things in place. So things such as balance withdrawal, making sure that we are better capable of handling the massive volume of people that come in. So we had a massive peak during our VIP pass sale, and our systems could barely hold it together. So we're making sure that between Friday and Sunday, we're getting all these things set up properly. And then we'll announce the space sale. We'll make sure that everyone has, at least 1 day notice, if not more. But it is something we want to wrap up before folks head out for the Christmas, vacation. So keep an eye out for next week.
Man, my eyes are open. I don't know about you, Nytmare and WhaleShark. Are you ready?
Absolutely, my friend. I am. Again, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of what you guys have created here. I can see, again, looking into the future, I can see this being a game that I'm going to be playing for many, many hours of my life. Can guarantee you that WhaleShark is going to be there for the public sale. Can't wait to have a guild for both Whale as well as Elite. And I know this is just going to be completely epic. Ryan, Han, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today. This was one interview that I didn't want to miss, and everybody knows that I hardly ever step into interviews, but I'm such a fan of what you, Ari, and the team are creating here. And I know that the entire community is extremely grateful for your time. DC, why don't you take us away, my friend?
Absolutely. And we're all excited. I'm excited. Nytmare's excited. WhaleShark's excited. The entire community is excited. We had so many people on YouTube. We had so many people on Twitter. We're broadcasting to the entire metaverse, basically, as it exists today. But we hope it exists even bigger with Big Time in the future. So, again, we're super excited. We're going to be playing the game. And I'm going to be playing the game. WhaleShark's going to get mad at me because my work might start slacking, but maybe not. So again, thank you all for coming. We were so happy to have you. And please come again next time. Anytime you want to give us some more details or talk about releases or whatnot, you're always welcome here in our community.
We really appreciate it, guys. This was a lot of fun. And honestly, I think the next thing, we're really excited to share our teaser, which is coming out very, very soon. So I think it'll show you a lot more of the game. And I get excited to see your guys' reaction to it.
Dude, we're ready. When you come out with that, we are going to post it all over the Whale community for sure.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you next time.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
you.
Take care, guys.